Welcome back, everybody, to a very special edition of Sign Me Up. I'm your host, as always, the ref representing Pro Football Newsroom, the number one source in alternative football news. Again, I am the ref, and today is a very special day. Today, we've been around 4 years. January 25th, 2018, we created a little website called XFL 2K. You guys might remember. Some of you might not. But I can't believe it's been 4 years. Now, for the people that don't know what I'm talking about with XFL 2K, that's what we were known as when we first came on the scene. Within the first year or so, we transitioned over to XFL Newsroom. And I mean, it was a magical time, right? We were at the front lines of the upcoming XFL. And at the time, we had the AAF, so that was a whole different thing to cover. The XFL came, and unfortunately and sadly, the XFL went, right? So 2020, the disease we shall not name came around and kind of ruined things for a little bit. Still have some lingerings and remnants going on right now, but needless to say, 5 games into that XFL 2020 season, the season was canceled. Shortly after that, the company filed bankruptcy. And I mean, that put us in a tough spot. What were we to do? Do we continue on the same path that we're on? Do we evolve and try to do something different? Or do we just stop doing what we're doing completely? And I mean, we kept going. And I think the goal, at least at the time, was to build upon what we had created. I mean, at the time, we didn't know if the XFL was coming back. I mean, they are now. We know. It's been bought by The Rock, Danny Garcia, Redbird Capital. They're headed back for a 2023 return. But at the time, we didn't know that. So, as you probably are aware of now, XFL 2K is turned into XFL Newsroom, which has become part of the bigger group of Pro Football Newsroom, right? So under Pro Football Newsroom, clearly, again, we mentioned XFL Newsroom, but we also have CFL Newsroom for the Canadians. We have the new one, the big one, the USFL Newsroom for the new returning USFL in 2022, April, just a couple months down the road. We have FCF Newsroom. We have the Spring League Newsroom, if the Spring League does decide to return, but it was there for when we were covering the games the last couple years. I mean, any newsroom you can think of, Major League Football, we got it. It's there. There's not a lot of news to report, but it's there. Arena Football, sign you up. We got all sorts of podcasts. I mean, we've had, in our 4 years, we've had so many people come through our doors. It's been amazing. I do want to not reach out, but list off some names, some people that I'm thankful for, helping us get here. I mean, the first one is you guys right here, the fans. Without you guys, there's no way I'd still be around. There's no way that I'd have this XFL wallet over here, right there. So thank you, first and foremost. We've had a lot of people work for the site, a lot of different podcasts, even some that are with our competitors now. But we're going to go through some. I mean, just looking at the list, man, we've had so many people, and I'm not going to list through everybody. The list would be too long, but there are some notable ones that I want to call out here. I mean, there's a couple that come to me right off the bat, right? When we first started this website, there's really about 2 people that jumped on board right away. So the first one is Tron Hawkins. You'll probably know him from This is the XFL podcast, and as well as This is the USFL podcast. But I mean, I think he was the first one on board. I think he jumped on somewhere in 2018, I think in December when he first started doing his podcast. We may have started a partnership maybe 2 or 3 episodes into his run. And I mean, since then, we've been good friends. Heck, he's even flown out here Luckily enough, to the Seattle Dragons Houston Roughnecks game the last week before everything shut down with the XFL. So I'm glad that had a chance to happen. But I mean, without this website, I wouldn't have made that friend, right? And I mean, he invited me to his wedding. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it. But I mean, these are the types of relationships we're talking about. These aren't just internet friendships. These are real friendships. So, Tron, sign you up. Thanks for helping make this a success. Another one, though, is a guy that a lot of you might know, J-Dash. He came on with the, I can't remember what it was called at the time, but it changed over to XFL Unhinged. I can't remember what the name of your original podcast is. I'm sorry. But, I mean, since then, he's gone on to create Unhinged Radio. They've created a partnership with Belly Up Sports. And I mean, if I recall correctly, I believe this Wednesday they have a special announcement on rebranding. And he's coming back to podcasting. So make sure you follow him. Look him up. The J-Dash Show. I don't know what his new show is going to be called, but there should be an announcement on that coming up. But I mean, one of the major contributors to the early days, J-Dash was one of my early hosts. He would jump on with me. We would go live. We would talk about the coaching announcements and the draft. We did the draft live with J-Dash. We did our best of spectacular with Tron and J-Dash, and another guy that I'm about to bring up, XFL Delivery Guy. So he recently just made his return. So he's doing a podcast, but he was one of the early contributors to the website as well. I mean, you might remember him. He was the AAF delivery guy. Then he was the XFL delivery guy. Maybe if we're lucky, we'll get a USFL delivery guy as well. But at least in the meantime, he's got a podcast. So make sure you check him out. Some from the writing side. We have American Noise. I mean, if you were ever in the Discord, I think that dude still leads the leaderboard in our Discord. He's one of the funniest dudes. He kind of disappeared. But that doesn't mean he's not getting a shout out. So if you're listening, sign you up. Ben Wheelgos, again, another writer. He's gone on to do his own project talking about fantasy sports. Christian Palantonio, he was around for the Vipers. He's coming back as well, so keep a lookout. Another long-time, old-time contributor, XFL Plus, my buddy up in Dallas. Another one that's gone a little bit dark since the league left. And I mentioned we had podcasts. We have some new ones, some old ones. From the legacy side, we had the Sea of Dragons, the Guard Post, the Viper Cast. On the news side, we have the Let's Talk XFL podcast. Like I mentioned, the XFL delivery guy. We got XFL Jim every so often putting some content out there, but definitely he's got all sorts of content. He's got his own thing going on. So if you're not following XFL Jim, make sure you're following XFL Jim. I mean, the one thing I love about him, he's his own style of comedy. He's like no other alternative sports contributor out there. And I mean, and I think that's great. I think it's special. I like to see those types of things, right? I mean, we've had so many people come through our doors too. I mean, when we look back, I mean, some of the biggest names, some of the larger names, I mean, everybody knows Mike Mitchell. If you look there on XFL Newsroom, you might find one or two Mike Mitchell articles. I want to say back in 2018, 2019. Even the Markcast. People think we have our scuffles. I have no problem with them. I think they're good guys. Reed's a fun guy. He's a good guy. Sign him up. The Markcast. They've come through here. Make sure you follow them as well. We have new guys. Tristan McKinstry. I said your name all goofy. It's early. It's early in the morning. Tristan McKinstry. He's a new guy. He's a good guy because he's from Detroit. He's a Lions fan. He knows my pain. But I mean, longtime contributors that are still around, we have Gavin Semler. And he came via one of our longest writers as well, Jake Henry. And I know most of you got to know who Jake Henry is, right? I mean, that dude's always popping off on Twitter. He's always dropping news, little hints, finding little nuggets. Make sure you're following him as well. I mean, Jake joined on, I think he was 16 when he joined our site, right? And was a little apprehensive, not going to lie. But, I mean, that kid proved himself. He's about to graduate high school now. When the XFL returns, he's going to be a full-blown adult, and he's going to be able to cover these games in person. And I think that's super exciting. This is why I like creating these opportunities. It's a fun little project. It's a fun little hobby that we have going on here. We love the newsroom crew. But, of course, there's a couple left here. James Larson, I mean, that dude came in clutch for me during the last spring league season. I mean, when it came down to it, there was really only about two people covering all of the games. It was him and myself. And, I mean, that dude proved himself. And, I mean, I'm so excited for the upcoming USFL season because James has only come into his own even more since then, right? So, again, keep an eye out for the USFL season because you'll be seeing a lot more articles from my man, James. And, of course, if you've been living under a rock, you know about the USFL podcast. That's kind of our newest venture at Newsroom, which we have Zach Kyleman of the Gridiron Gallery now joining myself. The first time I've really done a podcast, to be quite honest with you. I've been doing these YouTube videos for years now, but even more importantly, it's the first time I've had a consistent co-host. And so far, so flipping good. We're 3 episodes down. We're about to record our 4th this week. We have some really, really fun interviews lined up. You might be able to guess just based on the events that have happened over the last couple days. But if you're an XFL fan or even a St. Louis Battlehawks fan, as well as a fan of the upcoming USFL, like I said, we have some fun interviews coming up. But, I mean, it's been a crazy 4 years. We've grown so much, like a lot. And when I say a lot, I'm talking this month alone, we've had more traffic in this 1 month so far, not even at the end of the month. We're in January. We've had so much traffic this month that we've beat our first 2 years collectively. Added together, we've had more traffic this 1 month so far. We've had over 30% of our traffic from last year in this month. 2022 is the year of the newsroom. Mark my words, the ref says it now. It's going to be fun. We hope you join us for the journey. Click in the Discord. Click the subscribe. Hit the bell. It builds morale. Follow us at all of our socials, right? We have XFL Newsroom, USFL Newsroom, CFL Newsroom, Pro Football Newsroom, so at PF Newsroom. Make sure you're following the USFL podcast in its own YouTube account. Because I'm telling you, we're not even 1 month in. Traffic is getting crazy. It's going to be a fun ride, and I want you there with us. I'm glad that you've stuck around as long as you have. It's been a fun ride. It's been a great ride. I've met so many cool people along the way. I'm talking you guys, the fans. I mean, I've run into people. I mean, when I was at Royal Rumble, I had a guy come up to me and say, "Oh my God, it's you, it's the ref." I mean, that's pretty cool. That's pretty flipping cool. Sign me up there. But beyond that, I've met people in the organizations, within the XFL, within FCF, within the USFL. And these are opportunities that, quite honestly, I would have never had I not started this side project. In fact, give me 1 second. Had I not, excuse me, it's early. We're doing casual chat here. It doesn't need to be fully professional, but had I not started this project, I wouldn't have all of these neat media passes. I mean, look at these. We got XFL, we got the Spring League, and I mean, this one here, let me see. Is this the old one? Yeah, so this Spring League, this one right here, this is old school. This is from 2019, not 2018, 2019, when the XFL was working with the Spring League originally to work out the rules, do some scouting. I met Oliver Luck here. I met a couple folks there. I mean, of course, we got the summer showcase. We got the training camps. This one's from the Mega Bowl. The Mega Bowl here. What do we got? Oh, yeah, we got the Roughnecks and we got the Renegades passes. And there's some others laying around. But I'll tell you this. I'm definitely looking forward to adding to this collection over the next year. And quite honestly, hopefully over the next decade. I mean, I don't have any plans on stopping anytime soon. So let me just put these over here. Again, I just wanted to thank everybody for joining us for the ride. It's not going to be a long video. We're not really talking about news. I just wanted to jump in here. I figured it would be really silly of me not to do a video for our 4-year anniversary. And damn it, I'm looking forward to that 5-year. And on the 5-year, I feel like we should probably do a live stream. I was thinking about doing a live stream this year, but 5, sign us up. So stick around one more year. We got a live stream coming towards you. But again, if you do want more content, go follow us at the USFL Podcast, youtube.com/USFL Podcast, because I have probably more consistent content over on that channel right now with my man, Zach. And we'll be doing live content there as well. Quite honestly, we don't even just talk about just the USFL, so you'll get some of that other discussion. It's Sign Me Up plus a co-host and a little bit more organization and more consistent. Like I've always said, Sign Me Up is everyone's favorite weekly talk show that happens every 5 or 6 months. The USFL Podcast, it is actually a consistent weekly thing, and Zach will hold me to that. So I think that's it, everybody. I think that's all I got. So I guess until next time, sign you up.